Welcome back to our course. In this lesson, session 3, we are going to discuss the database development process. And in this video, we are going to cover the software development lifecycle, waterfall, database lifecycle, requirements gathering and analysis, logical design of the database, and implementation and populating the database. So this is no way to imply that Agile could not be used, but since most architects and most developers already know waterfall, we'll focus on waterfall. So with the waterfall process, typically there is one iteration with phases. Here are the phases now: requirements analysis, system design, implementation, system testing, system deployment, and system maintenance. So, and there is, this does work. It's not bad, but there are obviously many success stories with an Agile approach as well. With the database lifecycle, we can use the waterfall cycle as a model for the database development process, but it does incorporate some assumptions. We can separate the development of the database, specifically from the creation of the schema. Again, a schema is a template to define the data in the database from the user processes that make up the use of the database. And we can use the 3 schema architecture as a basis for distinguishing the activities associated with the schema. Again, the schema is a template. It is the tables, the columns, the data types, and so on. We can represent the constraints and enforce the schematics of the data once within the database rather than within every user process or every user action that actually uses the data. So the database lifecycle steps, again, similar to waterfall, requirements gathering, and the analysis of those requirements, the logical design, so that would be developing the schema. Implementation would be then taking that schema and building it into some kind of a database management system, such as SQL Server or Oracle or MySQL. Realizing the design, and then finally populating the database or entering data into the database. And guidelines for developing that ER diagram. An ER diagram is a model of our database. It's a model of our enterprise. It lets us know what data we need. So certainly we want to document the entities discovered during information gathering, document all of the attributes that describe that entity, and identify attributes and primary keys. Develop an initial ER diagram and get feedback on it. Make sure it's correct. Create new entities, which will eventually become tables, for multi-valued attributes and repeating groups. Incorporate these new entities in the ER diagram, and again, get feedback from the users or from the business, and then verify the ER model by normalizing the tables. And take a look at our last few lessons where we discussed normalization. So please stay tuned for our next lesson, where we will discuss database users.